Hey guys, Off the Mic Sports Network here with some breaking news and some history here on the channel. This is the first ever NBA story we're going to discuss here because late Friday night, the New York Knicks, it was revealed that they have traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, the four-time All-Star from the Minnesota Timberwolves. He is being sent to the Knicks for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a future first-round pick are going back to Minnesota as part of this trade. I want to focus on the Knicks side of this because, the Minnesota side of it's also very interesting. But really, for the Knicks, this is something that a lot of Knicks fans have been clamoring for. I mean, depending on who you talk to, some people may not be happy about this trade. But from a basketball perspective, this is honestly a really good fit for the Knicks because Karl-Anthony Towns is everything that this team has been missing for the last couple years. They have not had a big guy who could stretch the floor, shoot threes, rebound, and go get a bucket when they need it. So from that perspective, a guy who's averaged 22 points through his 9-year career, I think that's a great call by the Knicks. To do it this late in the process is a little bit interesting. Also, you trade away Dante DiVincenzo, who, while not nearly as good as Karl-Anthony Towns, he was a valuable piece, and his toughness really added something to this Knicks team. And that's my problem, really, with this trade for the Knicks is, yes, Julius Randle really wasn't fitting with you. You did really well without him. Dante DiVincenzo, yes, him shipping out, it's like, yeah, he's probably replaceable. My issue is with Karl-Anthony Towns. When the going got tough last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves, when they were in the Western Conference Finals, he disappeared. For basically 4 out of 5 games in that series. He was not recognizable, and it was all on Anthony Edwards to kind of rescue the thing, and it just wasn't enough because the Mavs just played so effing well in that series, and Luka and Kyrie were just so freaking dominant that it was impossible to overcome with Anthony Edwards really doing it by himself because nobody else was there to help him. And they were really leaning on Karl-Anthony Towns to be the second piece for the Timberwolves. So if I had one concern about this trade is how is this going to look when we get to those big time games that we saw from the Knicks when they were, backs against the wall, need to get something done. And because it can't all be on Jalen Brunson. It just can't. You can't survive with Jalen Brunson being as high of a usage player as, he was last year. Seriously, he was, especially in the playoffs, it was getting to LeBron levels of usage. It was getting to top, and Jalen Brunson is an outstanding player, but for a small guard like that to be that involved and that heavily involved in the offense, they've got to figure a way out. So it's going to be on Karl-Anthony Towns, and I have a lot of questions about whether or not they're going to be able to count on him to step up when Jalen Brunson has an off night or something like that. They did get Mikal Bridges, which I like. Mikal Bridges is one of my favorite players in the league. I would have loved for the Cavs to have him. He shoots threes, is 3-and-D guy, one of the best defenders in the league. Great. Josh Hart can annoy a bunch of people, but that guy is as pesky as they come. They lose Isaiah Hartenstein. It's like this kind of felt like, okay, they don't have a big, they can't trust Mitchell Robinson. So it kind of makes sense and it doesn't make sense because this is from a basketball fit. It lines up with everything that they need from the way that they structure their team in terms of mental and physical toughness. This is kind of a head scratcher because I love Karl-Anthony Towns. I love him as a guy. He's gone through a lot in his career, former number 1 pick. He's done a lot of great things in this league, but I cannot shake what I saw on the biggest stage in the Western Conference Finals last year when he was just non-existent for 4 out of the 5 games in that series. And that's one of the main reasons why the Minnesota Timberwolves did not go to the NBA Finals and the Dallas Mavericks did. So this could go either way, to be honest with you. This could be a disaster for the Knicks, or it could, turn out really well, and this is the missing piece that the Knicks need, and they go to an NBA championship. But there's a lot. Did the Knicks really get better? Did they really get better? Because yes, they'll probably score more points, but it's just what is this really about? This isn't about 22 points a game on the night. This is about getting to win an NBA championship and getting in the Eastern Conference Finals, getting to where they haven't been in a really long time, and ultimately trying to win an NBA championship. So they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. There's no doubt. Obviously, Boston's going to be the favorite. I like my Cavs. They're convincing themselves that, hey, Kenny Atkinson can unlock a lot from this team, and Donovan Mitchell is obviously going to be there. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how the ramifications of this trade so late in the offseason are really going to affect not only the Knicks, but the rest of the East and the rest of the NBA, because this is a seismic move to do this. Like, seriously, like, this is like right around the time when Donovan Mitchell got traded a couple of years ago. It's like you don't usually see trades like this close to the season. From the really quickly on the Timberwolves side, I really don't understand it. I really don't understand it. It's just like you essentially are giving away, because Julius Randle's fine, but he's getting up there in age. Dante DiVincenzo's a nice role piece, but it's Anthony Edwards, and do you really trust Rudy Gobert to be out there like all the time? At least with Karl-Anthony Towns, you could move them in and out of the lineup. Rudy can't score. At least Karl-Anthony Towns could score. Yeah, he had some issues with his mental and physical toughness, but it's a little bit of a head scratcher. Obviously, they probably are going to show a lot more faith in Naz Reid, the sixth man of the year. He'll probably get a lot more minutes. He was awesome for them last year. Like I said, sixth man of the year. He was averaging, I think, like about 12, 13, 14 points a game off the bench. So maybe that's their idea behind this. They want to go a little bit cheaper. They have a guy in-house that's making a lot less money that can do some of the things that Karl-Anthony Towns can do. Big, can stretch the floor, get rebounds and whatnot. It's a weird trade to kind of just like right as you're going into camp, just to wave the white flag and just say, hey, we're giving up on Karl-Anthony Towns. If you do this in July or August, then maybe I understand it more. But it's just like to do this at the end of September when the season's a month away is just odd for me. But I can see where their heads were at too. The ownership is notoriously cheap. So, but yeah, really kind of a big time move for the New York Knicks. And a little bit of a shocking move in terms of it for the Minnesota Timberwolves, considering they just, like I said, they were just in the Western Conference Finals. They knocked off the defending champion Denver Nuggets. Like, and then you just trade away arguably your second, not arguably, he was their second best player. He's their second best player. So it'll be interesting to see how the Timberwolves and Chris Finch, structure their team around it as well. But that's really the whole breakdown here. I didn't expect to be doing an NBA video and doing an NBA video here on the channel at the end of September, but here we are. Thanks for watching here. We'll have a lot more NBA coverage throughout the season. I am very excited to, talk about the NBA. It's honestly basketball's always been one of my favorite sports. And it'll be interesting, like sticking with the theme of this video, if the Cavs can measure up to the Celtics and the Knicks and also the Sixers, who just signed Joel Embiid to a huge contract. So a lot of interesting topics to tackle when it comes to the NBA, and we'll be handling it here on the Off the Mic Sports Network. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below this video. Off the Mic 28 if you want to follow me, OT Mike Sports if you want to follow the show, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.